Ladies and gentlemen, transmitting direct from Lions Den Studios in Los Angeles, California, Crewest Studios and Danube Productions bring you The Conduit, bringing together motivated artists to share their experience and to pull back the curtain for a first-hand look at a life in the arts. This episode, our guests are rapper Jack Wildchild Brown and his son Miles Brown from the hit TV show Blackish. So adjust your antenna, relax, and tune in. Your program is about to begin. All right, welcome everybody to episode 3 of The Conduit, a podcast where I sit down and talk to amazing, courageous people about making a living in the arts. Today, my guests are rapper Jack Wildchild Brown and his son, actor, dancer, and rapper Miles Brown. Both Miles and Jack came up in Oxnard, California. Jack alongside his bandmates, producer Otis Madlib Jackson and DJ Romes, forming the influential hip-hop group Loop Pack. And Jack's son Miles, who has been surrounded by music and dancing since he was a little kid. The Browns constantly made the trek from the 805 to auditions and dance jams in Hollywood until their hard work and an appearance on the Ellen DeGeneres Show landed Miles the role of Jack Johnson on ABC's hit TV show Blackish in 2014, now on its 8th and final season. Since then, Miles has decided to follow in his father's footsteps and release a rap record called We the Future, with appearances by Slick Rick and Dame Dalla, with Jack right behind him about to release his brand new LP, Omawale, featuring guest spots by Pasta Noose of De La Soul and Big Daddy Kane. Both Miles and Jack's infectious personalities shine like beacons, spreading their message of excellence and familyhood far and wide. So without any further ado, please enjoy my conversation with Jack and Miles Brown. Yeah, welcome to The Conduit, you guys.
Word up. In the building, we in the building.
Yes, sir.
Word up.
So, The Conduit is basically like, I'm trying to give listeners, kind of a glimpse into the reality of people who are making it and doing things in artistic lifestyles, whether it's acting or music or
right.
Painting or whatever. And for many of us, that started at home, growing up. So I want to start with you, Jack, and just kind of talk to you about what growing up was like for you, man. Records in your house. What inspired you as a kid growing up to get into what you started doing?
Oh man, we're going back.
Yes.
I can't remember how young I was exactly, but I do remember I had like glimpses of periods in time, and it wasn't just one defining moment. So the first moment was that moment when my mom and pops bought me my first record player.
Yeah.
And I was probably behind everybody else getting, when a product comes out, turntable, whatnot, I wasn't the first to get it. I might have been the last, but when they did get it, I remember they got the turntable with the dual cassette deck.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And it was crazy because I had no records of my own.
Yeah.
But I was learning how to find certain radio stations because we live in Oxnard, California. So we didn't really get all the radio stations, without, putting the foil at the end of the antenna and trying to,
exactly.
hot wire to Mars.
Oh yeah, I remember.
But I do remember the dopest moment was my uncle took me to get my first record.
Yeah.
It's my Uncle Tony, rest in peace. And he took me to get, it was Curtis Blow the Brakes and One Way Chase Me. It was it was the first record I got. And then this was right before Christmas. And then I remember my parents got me the Thriller album.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they got me the Thriller album. So playing records was just trying to figure out how it worked. No one taught me how to not mess up a needle, and all that type of stuff. And then I remember I would play so many cassettes because I was borrowing my uncle's cassettes that I broke the knobs.
Oh yeah.
So this is the key for me. This was when I had to physically go in and because they weren't buying me a new one. If I broke it, I broke it. So this is where I had to physically go in and put more effort into the pause, record, so you can record from your records, you know what I mean? And record from the radio.
Yeah.
And I remember that was the moment when I finally was able to tune in to K-Day and find out about K-Day. And I was listening to a lot of music that was played on that station than I ever heard. All the hip hop. And this is, DJ Hayes, more as a popper, but he was one of the DJs on K-Day. And when I was recording, I just started experimenting. I didn't know, no one had cell phones, no internet, of course. I didn't know other people were doing what I did, which was recording from the radio and trying to manipulate songs or the breaks of a song by pausing, recording it. This is like the birth for me of mixtaping for myself. And I would do that and record. And I mean, it was to the point where I was, my cassette, like an old VCR, when it eats up the video thing on the inside, my cassette player was eating up the cassette. So that's when I started becoming a mechanic, taking cassette tapes apart and trying to fix them. And then I'm like, man, am I the only one going through this? Is this?
You had to get those eyeglass, little tiny screwdrivers for eyeglasses.
Man, I was going through all that, and I remember that's when I started thinking, okay, I can manipulate the cassettes and try to, pause, record songs to make them last longer than they would, or how to rejuvenate a certain part of a tape before I discarded the tape. And then, in addition to that, with my Uncle Tony, on my mom's side, which lived on a different side of town, when I was with my Uncle Kevin, he was the one who was more into record collecting.
Okay.
So he was the one that had all the funk, R&B music repertoire. My Uncle Tony, he had more of just the straight rap.
Okay.
And he always dressed like a B-boy.
Okay.
So I had two uncles on two sides of the family that to this day, I thank them for everything, because that's what, on one sense, one uncle, I was appreciating him in real time. My other uncle who had the records, I learned to grow into appreciating. Lo and behold, the reason I'm telling the story is this uncle with the records knew Madlib before I knew Madlib.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so him and Madlib somehow were either trading records, borrowing records. I think Madlib was aware of my uncle in the town. It's a weird story. Like, you would think like that's how I would meet Madlib, but I was more into sports. That's why I wasn't appreciating the music till later. Gotcha. Yeah, that's pretty much what gave, because I wanted to be like him and dress like him. My Uncle Tony on one side, and my Uncle Kevin, I ended up learning more about appreciating music later in time, So I was a knucklehead with tons of records all over the place. And it was in my way. Yeah. Can you imagine that? Records in my way. And now I'm like wishing I had probably half that collection he might have had back then.
Right.
Yeah. So that was the birth into that later, within a year or two, I ran into DJ Rome's, and the rest was history.
Well, God bless uncles with good taste in music.
Yeah, man.
Man. Well, you're talking about, fixing cassettes and doing mixtapes with cassettes. And my next question was, I'm wondering the difference between you growing up and Miles, you growing up. So what's the thing that growing up with your mom and dad and your sister that brought you into, what excited you about music or about acting as well too? But what was the first thing that kind of sparked your interest?
It really came from my dad. I mean, it was kind of a combination of different things. I would say, growing up, I would always watch all the Michael Jackson clips, all the James Brown, dancing videos, the Jabberwockies, just a bunch of different people. And, I guess that kind of inspired the dancing side of everything for me. And then I'll say for the music end was, mainly more through him, because, I could say, I feel like I wasn't like a lot of the kids who are, are my age, because I know a lot of the kids didn't grow up listening to funk music and old school hip hop and stuff. Yeah. So, so it was mainly just through him, and just the, I guess, I would say since when he would go on tour and do like certain shows, and he would show me, he would like record everything that happened, and then he would come back home and he would just show me clips of like people dancing and like, like the ciphers going on. Yeah, so he would just show me that, and then that kind of inspired me to start dancing because it just seemed super fun. So he kind of just, I guess the funk side was, I guess that was like the first genre of music that I actually started liking.
Yeah, funk, man. That was probably
because I danced to it. So that was what made me like it, because I danced to it.
I think the dopest thing to me as a father, letting him hear the music, because I didn't know he would like it. It wasn't like I said, you're going to listen to whatever we play in this house or whatever. No, it wasn't like that.
It was like that sometimes, though. You did
in my car, yes.
But it rubbed off on me.
But the connection I remember was you would like, because this was like mainly the birth of YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And I remember you would like watching Soul Train. And I would show you, because at the time he was born, I know that YouTube had so many episodes on you could search and find. So I would play him clips of Soul Train and then literally clips from overseas. And I would tell him, look, they're dancing to the same songs.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like I was educating him. He just recognized the music. So for example, Cameo, that was probably one of your first favorite groups. He's watching YouTube. He's watching these clips I was showing from overseas, because at that time, the events I was going to, they would play a lot of these songs in their entirety, not just, like break, back and forth. And it was like he was just eating it up. I didn't even know, because to be honest, I would play it for him, but I wasn't playing it for him. I was playing it for myself. He would come in the computer room. What are you looking at? Yeah. Oh, well, check this out. Remember that song you were listening to or you were listening here? Look, that's the song. And then he was like, oh, because it was like his whole world was starting to open up, that it wasn't just on TV or, and then he liked the groups. So I'm like, that group we would listen to, here's the actual record.
Yeah.
And I would play the actual record. Yeah. So combining all those three together, the icing on the cake was he's watching them dance. He's better a dancer than I am. I was like, I could do some of that.
Yeah.
Let's do it together.
Right.
So it's like, imagine sports. That's the best way I can describe it. He likes watching this player. He heard of this player.
Yeah.
They wear the same kind of uniforms.
Yep.
He likes it. He wants to play it. I might be a little nice with it myself. Let's go play together. That's the best way to be inspired. So he just wanted to do it. So I cut myself off early. I was going to say the best part as a father was when I would pick him up from school. I don't know if you remember this. There was times that I wouldn't play funk or whatever. And literally he would say, can we hear some funk?
Nice.
You probably remember saying that. Yeah. When he was saying that, I'm like, oh man, what did you say? Ask me that again. But it was all fun, man.
Yeah, man. Well, it's such like, obviously it's the same thing. All the hip hop we all grew up on was, it's sampling all that stuff that your uncles were listening to, and all those old funk records, jazz records. It's all the same thing, and it inspires. It's crazy how many people our generation just were inspired to go back and dig. Like I came up with a dad who was a jazz bass player, so he didn't listen to Cameo or James Brown or anything like that. He was listening to Miles Davis and Coltrane. Like he was older, but through hip hop, I started investigating. Like what's that bass line from? What's that drum beat from? And then you find out the original records, and that's inspiring too. It's just endless. It's endless.
I started to appreciate that more once I met Madlib. Learning who were the composers on a lot of different songs. But then again, I was so late that by the time he's throwing all these names to me, I probably didn't appreciate it the way I know he wished I would have appreciated. You know what I mean? I remember when he first played me Fela Kuti, and I was like, yo, or this was before Quasimodo's project. He would play a lot of music, Miles, and he would, just show me, or we'd be watching a movie because I was in the movies. We watch a movie I like. He would be like, you see that? Here's the soundtrack. This is what they use. the person that played the music on Blackula or an old movie,
right.
And I wasn't connecting those dots because I was more into the finished product side of it,
Sure. Well, it takes a certain brain, and Otis and Egon and dudes like that definitely have that brain to just remember all that information. It's amazing. They're like historians and musicians at the same time.
Exactly.
Oh, man. Well, I know you guys moved to LA from Oxnard, and you came up in Oxnard, obviously. And what's the transition? What was it like moving from Oxnard, having been up there for so long and now being in LA?
I mean, for me, it's just crazy because it's like, Oxnard will always be, like where I'm from. So,
it
was just like, I don't know. I mean, part of me could say that like I've always been in LA, even if I'm from Oxnard, because it's like when I started acting when I was like, what, like 6 or something, 6, 7.
Yeah.
So ever since then, we would be in pretty much LA like every day. So, I was kind of just used to being in that whole area, that Hollywood area. And I guess moving there just made it easier for us to go certain places. And I was ready because it's like, I knew I was already doing homeschool, so it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, oh, I'm moving, so all my friends are like, they already are used to that. So, I don't know. I was just ready for it, and it was just fun ever since. But I do still miss Oxnard because Oxnard's always going to be like my home for sure.
You would always not complain too because the drive is like an hour.
We would like. It was crazy. You don't even know how many times. It was like every single day after school, we would always do auditions. Like,
it's like a field
hour and a half drive back, probably even longer because of traffic. So
this was when little mobile devices started becoming a thing.
Right.
Not phones, but like kid devices or the birth of iPads or whatever it may have been. He had those devices that most kids learn from. So we were like, it helped. He would blink. We were already in LA. It'd make the drive easier. He wasn't tired. He's always energetic. So that never changed. And, but it was always fun because it was always the reason we would go to LA was because we would always hear there was a jam, and once we went to one or two, he started loving going to jam. Now me, I would go anyways to support or maybe be part of a jam. But when it was like, I was able to bring him or Kiana at the time, he was like, let's go. What's going on next? And he would actually enter. A lot of people don't really know this, but he would actually enter the battles at 4 and at 5 and battle. Yeah. Wow. So, and that's that. It reminded me of like the dancer's name is Little Coco, the kid that most remember from Breaking.
Oh, yeah.
That kid. Because that's that he was always around adults, in the movie. And that was actually a little real life. Yeah. And the dance world embraced him in that same way and told me that.
Right.
When they see him, it was like, yo, when I was 4, I wish I could be around what they're around now. So it kind of made us, feel real welcome, when most kids or parents would be at the park or doing sports, other, typical kid things too. So yeah, man.
I wanted to ask you, you were just talking about how you've been how you homeschooled, I would assume because of acting, but we homeschooled our kids. And one of the things I loved about it the most was just that they were constantly around littler kids and older kids and adults and learned how to kind of be cool around all these different age groups. It was more of a community thing as opposed to going to school and you're separated in your grade. And I wonder if that played into your homeschooling and how that worked with acting and all that.
I started off with just regular, was it wasn't public school. It was charter school.
You're in public school.
Yeah. I was in charter school. But I started off there and I just went all the way till my first year of middle school. And I didn't do middle school. So basically what happened was I started Blackish in my 4th grade.
Uh-huh.
3rd, 4th grade, and then I went all the way till 5th grade, and then I realized, while doing Blackish, and it was the biggest struggle that any person ever can imagine because it's already a hassle when you have to do independent studies for a day, and your teacher has to give you a day's work, and you have to do that while you're gone, and then when you come back, you got to give all your papers and stuff so she can grade it at the end. But just imagine that for weeks on weeks on weeks piled of work. So basically, my teacher just had to give me almost a month or two at a time because I would be gone for so long, and I would have like a slim day that I would be off to go back to school and give all this paperwork of all different subjects.
Wow.
And at that point,
memorizing lines and being on set all the time.
Yeah. Shout out to Mrs. Kent.
Yeah.
Shout out to
What's her name?
Kent.
Mrs.
Kent. I'm giving her a shout out. That was his teacher. God bless her.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, Mrs. Kent.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was the best thing. I mean, so I could say once it got to like my 4th, 5th grade, having only, because, you know, elementary school, you only have one teacher. So it all put all the pressure on her. And if I was in middle school, it would be 5 times harder because it's the same thing, but with 5 different teachers.
Right.
So she would have to stay at the school hours on hours after everyone already left, just grading my work. And she didn't have to do that.
She didn't have to do it. The principal, yeah.
So the principal didn't really like it, you know, because, you know, how long she was staying. And after all, you know, the teacher is going to complain a little bit because, you know, once you do it too many times, you know, you start to rub off on you. So then, I just ended up going to homeschool after that. So it's crazy because it's like people always ask me about school and stuff, and I've never went to a middle school. I've never went to a high school. I'm about to be a junior in high school, and I've never went to high school or middle school. So it's like the only kind of school memories I have is from elementary.
Yeah.
So I could say that it kind of has pros and cons because I'm not able to kind of grow up with my own, I guess, age group. But at the same time, you know, it kind of benefited because I'm able to grow up around people who are way older than me and can teach me. And I could say like my social time that I would have at a public school, I'm having really just as much on set. So it's pretty awesome.
And
absolutely.
The cool thing I remember, he always talked about that he wished, like most kids talk about, man, prom or my first girlfriend, or he would say, man, I just want a locker.
Yeah. Like I just
want to what now? What did you say?
A locker. I don't know why. Like, because you know, from an elementary school perspective, like when you would, because our middle school was right next to, like, it was the same school but split.
Right.
Yeah.
So like when we would walk past the middle school kids, like we would just see them with their lockers and like they had an open gym and all that. So it just seemed super cool. Like it was the small stuff that like a lot of kids don't understand when they get there. That like I would want, you know what I'm saying? So
you're not alone. My daughter felt the same way. We homeschooled her forever, and she wanted to try public school just to have the experience. And a locker was one of the things she wanted to do.
Yeah. Gotcha. I don't know why. I just like keeping I don't know. Like, So,
it's like it has its pros and cons sometimes, but you know, I was worried that he wouldn't stay challenged, learning, because some we've heard, you know, the quote unquote horror stories from homeschooling. You know, it might make kids get lazier, you know, all the things that could help or not help. That was one of the worries that I had because of the entertainment, how it is easier, but this may happen because of. But the one thing that we were blessed is that he stayed just as challenged doing the subjects and showing what his capabilities were. And I know he won't talk about it, but he's been able to maintain mostly straight A's throughout the whole time, man. So that's why we do a lot. That's what makes us, me and my wife Cindy, do more for him, is because we see he's not taking his life, what he's been blessed with, for granted, you know, versus if he had stayed in public school. You know,
well,
so
it seems to me like it's like, you know, homeschooling, you really got to be self-motivated in getting all the stuff you have on your plate taken care of, especially if you're balancing it with an acting career at the same time. You got to go, okay, I only got so many hours today. Here's what I got to do. And as an artist, I've talked about that with a bunch of people, like being self-motivated is key to being successful, you know?
Right.
So that was probably some good, I don't know, practice at that, I would guess.
Yeah, man. That's why I salute to all like you, man, and all other parents who help with their kids, especially within this last year when kids weren't homeschooling. I can only imagine. I haven't really talked to that many parents who had to go into homeschooling because of what we went through and everything. So that was a big deal. But we're lucky he was able to stay on that. I think he's going to turn the air conditioner off.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't even hear it. If it's bugging you guys, though, no problem.
No, we're like right under the vent.
Oh,
I think that's what,
Well, my next question was for you anyway, Jack. So I was just wondering, like, when obviously Miles showed signs of wanting to get into acting and dancing and all this, and when did you first kind of make the transition of I think we're gonna try and do something with this and get him into show business and going on auditions and everything?
Oh, word up.
When did you first get interested in kind of we're going to make that plunge? Did you have concerns? What were your first steps? Talk to me about all that.
I always had concerns about when we were deciding to help get you into entertainment. It was like, I think it started when he finally saw Breaking.
Oh, yeah.
As weird as it sounds, we didn't have the DVD, and this was before on demand where you could just find it. So if you didn't have it, you didn't have it. So I grew up watching it. I never needed it to have it because I already seen it. If I catch it on TV or whatnot. But the timing when he was born, when he was 4, I remember him watching a clip of Breaking. And he said, I mean, that's weird because most kids wouldn't say what he said. He said, that scene right there, where was that scene? And this is that infamous scene where they're at Venice Beach when Van Damme is in the clip and they're all watching. They're just watching these random dancers just dance in a cypher. He saw that because the clip, I think what he liked was the essence of the cypher and everyone just watching.
Sure.
And when we live in Oxnard, I've never shown him. He's never seen that.
Yeah.
So when he saw that, instead of just watching the movie, he was like, where did they film that? I said, oh, that's a clip. That's Venice Beach.
Yeah.
And he said, I want to go there. I just randomly want to go there.
Yeah.
And I went, okay, I wasn't expecting that. Now with us, we always do stuff as a family. I could have easily just took him myself, but I was like, to my wife and to my daughter Kiana, I was like, I guess family trip, road trip to go to Venice Beach.
Yeah.
So we go to Venice Beach. But what I'm also leaving out was I remember months before he had watched the show America's Got Talent.
Oh, right. Yeah.
He's seen it. Now, I don't think he cared for the show, but he liked when there was kids on the show, whether they could sing or dance.
Right.
And he happened to see a breakdance group on there. Yeah. They didn't succeed, but he saw it. And we saw, I think, one of our friends, the Groovaloos, at that time on there.
Okay.
And they didn't advance as well. But they weren't friends of ours at the time. He just was inspired by what they did.
Oh, that's cool.
So I said for fun, hey, you never know. You know, it is like playing basketball. You say to your kid, hey, you never know. One day that could be you playing in college ball or going into the NBA. I really was meaning it just like that. So I said, hey, you never know. You could be up there, one day. You want to do it?
Right.
And he literally said, yeah. Well, nice. Slow down. I was serious, but I mean, I don't know if you understand what I meant. I mean, you probably could. And he was like, no, So we just sat on it. Me and my wife sat on it for a while. And then he kind of thought, yeah, let's do it. Really?
Right.
And I go, okay. So we go to Oxnard Pier. Okay. And we wanted to film an audition, a dance clip of himself. At home, of course, he's going to, what most kids do. They do what they do at home because they're in the comfort of their own home. Yeah. But for video purposes, which is I'm trying to get into video at that time, I thought the way it looked, he looks cool, but what our background in our house, I don't know if most people want to see a video of our house. So that's why we went to the pier.
Smart.
But when we went to the pier to record his clip, I don't think he enjoyed it as much because, and I'm saying this now that I understand, but at the time I didn't understand. He liked dancing at the pier, but the essence of the cypher was not there.
Right.
And that's why
the energy
when he saw, so when he saw the clip from Breaking, what's that? So I already had the clip from the pier ready to send for an audition for America's Got Talent. But when he saw the clip from Breaking, Venice Beach, I was like, you want to go there? Maybe we could do your audition there.
Right.
So that's where the idea of us going to Venice Beach came about. And I think that was like, I created a YouTube account for him.
Yeah.
And the first video that we posted was the experience of going there. So to answer your question, because I'm trying to explain the backstory, but we go to Venice Beach, and this is like a heartwarming moment. When we get to Venice Beach, I bring a boombox provided by Peanut Butter Wolf, who gifted Miles a boombox.
Nice.
We go to Venice Beach. Before we can put the box, because I didn't know what it was going to be like. I didn't know what we're going to get into. He wasn't nervous. He's not really the nervous type at that time. He's not nervous. So I was like, I don't know. We'll just wing it. Let's just, whatever happens, happens, you know?
Yeah.
But when we're walking, we see a crowd. And I go, that's where they filmed that scene in the film. And I look, and I immediately see a recognizable face. And it was Mr. Animation. Rest in peace.
Whoa, no way.
Yeah, so we see Mr. Animation, and within a quick, 2 minutes, I had to break down who he was. I was like, the movie that you saw when we came here, that guy was in that movie.
That's crazy. And, what are the chances of that day him being there?
But that's not even the craziest part.
That's not the craziest. You're going to trip.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah, this story goes down as the best, but we rarely have interviews like this to explain it.
Oh, it's beautiful.
We go, I explain who Mr. Animation is, and I'm pretty sure at that time it goes over Miles' head. All he heard was he was in that movie wearing a mask. Right. I go, this guy is known for wearing masks.
Yeah.
We walk over, we sit, and we're watching, and out of nowhere, Mr. Animation sees him and brings him into his show that he's doing for the people.
Dang.
And he calls him out. I think my wife starts videotaping, and Miles doesn't say why he's there. He just has his dance name, Baby Boogaloo, on the back of his shirt. He doesn't say why we're there, what happens. Mr. Animation's just asking him, what do you do? Let me, and Mr. Animation doesn't know what he's like, how he dances or nothing. He just thinks he's a regular kid because he's so short, and small.
Yeah.
So he has fun with Miles versus, like if you knew a baseball player was really good or could be good, you would be like, hey, hit the ball a couple times. Let me see what you got.
Right.
He was just having fun.
Oh, that's cool.
At the last minute, he goes, go ahead, do a little something. 10 seconds. All right. He gives him some of his money he earned from the crowd to Miles.
No way.
Yes. Miles walks off to us, smiling ear to ear. And then we could have left, but we decided to stay and watch the rest of the show. Probably 5 more minutes. Yeah. When the 5 minutes is done, Mr. Animation comes over. Do you want to tell him what he told us?
You already got in the middle of the story. You're the heat of the story.
Okay. Mr. Animation says, what are you doing? And we go, no, we're just here just to record a few clips. I didn't tell him about the show, America's Got Talent, what we're doing. I said, we're just trying to get a couple of clips of him getting down. But I think Mr. Animation, because he's so into street performing and making money, he thought we were trying to do the same. Oh. And I said, no, we're not trying to. That's not where we're coming from. We're just trying to come have fun. I had to keep it quick. I didn't want to give him the whole backstory. I was just like, we're just trying to get a couple of dance clips of him having fun. He's like, well, maybe, and I still don't think it registered what I meant. He goes, maybe you might want to go Hollywood Boulevard. Matter of fact, go over to Santa Monica Promenade.
Oh, okay.
And I went, Promenade, Hollywood Boulevard, okay. And I look at my wife, Hollywood Boulevard, are we still this road trip continuing on? So we go to Hollywood Boulevard, and he was right. We set the boombox down. Miles starts doing his thing. We have fun. We just wing it. There's no plan. We just wing it. The crowd is so crowded. He dances 5-10 minutes. My wife records a clip, and we just stop. We didn't take any money. We even got we even plugged the mic up and said, we don't get it twisted. We don't want no money.
Yeah.
Then we hit Venice or the Promenade. The only reason why we decided to go to the Promenade was because we knew that once we leave the Promenade, we can literally just take the coast going home.
Oh, yeah. That
was the only reason why we went. Otherwise, we would have not went. Right. So when Animation said go to the Promenade, we went. Now, this is where the story gets crazy. We get there, we park, and there's a lot of people, but it's not as compact like Hollywood Boulevard or Venice. People are kind of scattered. But the moment we just randomly see a spot, the moment we put the box down,
Yeah.
This lady comes up to me. My wife's on the other side of what, because she's trying to tape from her vantage point miles where I'm at. So she had to go across from us to tape what he's about to do. We haven't even started. We didn't plug no mic in or nothing. We just put the box down. And the lady taps me. While my wife's taping, I was rude to her. I said, because I didn't know what she was going to say. Could I take a picture? I didn't know what she was going to say. Like, sorry. Can you just give me a few minutes like that?
Yeah.
I didn't even let her speak or nothing.
Yeah.
I put the boombox down. She does that. And then she could have walked away. Probably could have thought I was rude. But she reaches to my ear and she whispers in my ear, "No, I just wanted to give you my card. I'm with the Ellen DeGeneres show."
Oh.
And I see your son, what he's doing, and I wanted to offer him to be on the show. So the timing of that happened was ridiculous, because that explains why the next week the world saw him on Ellen before America's Got Talent, because that America's Got Talent was months down the road.
Right.
And that's what we were taping for. So that's why people saw him on Ellen first, because she happened to see us doing that.
Oh and, my gosh, what a day. That's incredible.
Yeah, and we told Animation, we never got to really tell him thank you for what he told us, because he ended up passing away years later. But we went to the funeral.
Yeah.
And at the funeral, me and Miles, I went ahead and got up and told his family the story I'm telling you now.
Oh, man, what a great story. That's incredible.
Yeah, man.
I always hope in my heart that once people pass, if there's stories they didn't get to hear that would have touched their heart, that they get to hear all those stories after they pass.
Yeah, man.
That's just my belief. That's what I hope happens.
Right.
Yeah.
But that changed everything. Wow. We never thought about it. Like, had he not told us to do that.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, walk us through, Miles. Walk us through what it was like going on Ellen DeGeneres' show for the first time. What's that like?
I mean, well, the first time I could really hardly remember anything, if I'm being honest. I was just there, just purely just energy and fun based. Like I'm assuming what I was thinking, because that's how I am now. I do remember I got like a free Xbox or something at the end.
Oh, nice.
That was, I don't know why, but just like because I was a kid, so that was like really the only thing. But I do. I remember.
Your first one was the outfit, I think.
Yeah. Well, I got something actually in the first time. And I do remember.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that if you're a guest on the show, there's like 2 segments. So when you do one segment, you go to commercial break, and you come out for the second one. I didn't know that there's a second one, so I was the only. I think if this is still true, I'm the only person who like accidentally just walked off at the end of the first one, because I thought it was done. I thought the interview was over. So I just walked off, and there's a video of it. I just say peace or something.
You just say peace, and Ellen saying, the normal host will be back after the commercial, and you stay in. He literally was like, and just walked off. I think he even looked over your shoulder like, yeah, I'm out. But I can, now that you explained that.
But I didn't understand, because the way she was to me, I thought she was saying in interviews.
Yeah.
So.
You were trying
to all of our listeners from Miles Brown. If you're on the Ellen show, don't walk off before checking in with people.
Yeah.
That was probably the best. I think that experience was so dope, because I've never seen anybody, an adult or a child, Miles, correct the host if they say something right or wrong. There was a moment when you got to explain it, when you told her about the pop, when most people say pop locking.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because everyone how they refer to it as pop locking and stuff like that. So like she said it, or did she say pop locking? Or did
she said popping and locking are the same thing, right?
Oh yeah. So it was funny, because I was 4. So obviously when you're a young kid, like you have the confidence to just do whatever you want. So like I just corrected her on the spot. It was the most funniest thing, So
that was I was sitting there in the back like, that's what's up. Like he ain't even afraid to correct Ellen of all people.
That's great, man.
Yeah.
People getting history out there too. That's beautiful.
But I mean, just think about it. If somebody said to you, because salsa and samba is the same thing, right? They wouldn't know.
Salsa and samba, so right.
Right. If someone said something like that,
Yeah.
and you're a kid who comes from doing those styles of dance,
right.
and you correct them, it's really not rude.
No,
it's
not
just,
at all.
Right. So that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Well, so dancing kind of brought you onto this show. It seems like what got you interested in acting out of dancing? What?
Well, I think this was starting to get to the point where a lot of because back then dancers would never have agencies or, you know, like it was never bookings. Like it was nothing like that. Like
no, I'm sorry. You had a lot of auditions.
No, I'm not there yet.
Oh, okay. I was like,
I'm not there yet. But it was not like that to the point where, like, this is when I would go to all the jams and stuff. This was like during, like, you know, and then it would get to a point where a lot of kid dancers would start with signing on agencies, strictly dance agencies, and not anything that has to do with really acting.
Right.
And I remember we did the same thing, and we would do these auditions, kind of like background dancing or like doing a commercial, and you would see me dancing in the back, like just stuff like that. And I guess the more and more I started doing it, I started seeing that the casting directors and the people doing the auditions would be like asking me to act a little more and more in every one. And then after we got to a point where I was kind of just acting while dancing, my parents and I were just like, why don't we just try just going full in, just try acting? Like, why don't we just see where it goes? And that was when I was like, what, 6 or 7?
Yeah,
kinda?
that was mom thought that because she saw us driving so many times. She just wanted, she thought maybe it was better to pursue, or why not try
on your investment?
Pursue acting.
So,
we went through 2 cars by then from all the driving.
But okay, so then after that, I was around 6, 7, and then pretty much a year and a half later, after doing all these acting auditions, and I was fairly new because it's like I was never ever all like these other like acting kids where I would take everything so seriously. Like if I came out the audition room, I just stopped completely focused on the audition. I was just on to the next fun thing of the day. Like a lot of kids are like, dang, did I do good? Like, you know, like so like that. So I was never like that. Even beforehand, I would just look at the script once and then I would just be like, yo, can we go get something to eat? And then I would just go So I would never always be focused. And I think sometimes that's a good thing because like for me, when I got Blackish, I think that's a major reason. And that, if, you know, leading on to that, I was 6 or 7 when we started and I was 8 turning 9 when I got Blackish. So only like 2 years after I actually started fully acting when I got my first role. And, it was, I could say the whole casting process of that is crazy. Just knowing how everything went between, you know, certain things going on. But I could say that I feel like a major reason why they did pick me was because, and I don't know if people know this, but I was the first one casted on the show. Besides,
that's a crazy story.
Besides Anthony, who was already, you know, he was the executive producer on the show pre-hand. But auditioning wise, I was the first. So it was just crazy because it's like, I think they seen and they understood how I went into these auditions just really just there for fun and just having fun and I guess finding the enjoyment of the whole thing.
Regular kid.
And they just seen I was a regular kid having fun. And I already met Anthony somewhere.
Oh, wow.
But it wasn't that big of a deal. But I met him somewhere at this concert or something, and I had a huge afro.
He probably knows about the concert.
It was just random concert.
A year before that audition he's talking about was Balboa Park.
Okay.
Robin Thicke, New Edition.
Oh, wow.
And Cameo, randomly.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
That's like, you never would see those acts with Cameo.
I don't think it was a crazy... I forgot.
We went to see Cameo. My wife went to see Robin Thicke and New Edition. We showed up late and missed Cameo's set.
Oh.
We're sitting there in the sun. My wife's having a ball. And we look and I go, is that Anthony Anderson? I knew who he was. He had no clue who he was. I took him to meet him. They took a photo. And a year later,
do you have that picture or no?
I have the picture on one of our old phones.
Wow.
But a year later was when the audition happened, and Anthony did not remember taking that photo. And I couldn't find it because this is when you moved on to phones. But that audition.
Yeah, process, I remember that now.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I remember that I did. So now is where it gets even crazier. I'm just talking about the Kevin Hart thing.
Oh yeah.
And so while that was going on, this is the craziest thing because out of all, like the whole year, 2 years, like this one moment, just craziness started happening out of nowhere. Yeah. So did the Blackish audition without anyone in the room. It was just, how the casting director and a camera, like just how normal auditions are. So did good on that. And I think either the next day I went and I did a Kevin Hart audition for this show that I guess Kevin Hart was executive producing at the time.
About himself.
And it was pretty much just about himself. And I think they wanted me to play his son or something, like the role was for his son. And I did good on that too. And it was good because I got callbacks for both. And I got a callback for Blackish, and at the time it was just the untitled Anthony Anderson project. Okay. And I still remember that. And I remember going in the room, and unlike it just being the person reading me my lines in the camera, it was every writer, every producer, and every ABC executive. So it was like a good 20 to 30 people in that one room. And it went from one person that has nothing to do with the show.
Right.
So then, 30 people who are in charge of the whole network of the show.
Deep breath,
and including
right?
Anthony and Kenya, who's also, the creator. And it was just, I could say, I think by them doing that, they knew that they were going to make a lot of kids, I guess, like nervous when you walk into the room with that many people. But I was so like nonchalant and I was just doing my own thing. Well, I was like, okay, so we got more people watching me. Like, okay, that's cool. Like, I didn't think of it as a nervous thing. I just thought of it as like, oh, cool. So now I get to do more thing in front of more people.
Oh, yeah.
And they just seen that and they really liked me. And then the same thing with the callback for Kevin Hart. It wasn't that as many people, but they liked the callback. So we started, once we got to this point, we started getting phone calls from both shows. And then we had to, we tried to find a way to tell them, it took us a second for us to find a way how to tell them that we're trying to do an audition for an opposing show. And that's kind of the worst thing because it's like once you tell a show that, they just go in scrambles trying to, I guess, get you or trying to find a way to like distract you or to not go to another one, right?
Yeah, it was stressful, man.
So once that happened, it was almost like a bid war type thing between both shows. And I think after you do a callback, normally the way it goes is you're supposed to do like a chemistry test with the people who are already on the show, as if you already got the job, but you don't really got the job type thing. And Blackish, they just wanted me so much. They were going back and forth between the Kevin Hart show. Blackish just wanted me that much. They just offered me the job. So, before that even happened.
But they did hear. I think it was because they also got wind of another show possibly interested in them as well. Yeah. That was a Kevin.
But before that, I remember it got to a point where it was like a this or that, and we had the choice because there was a moment where our agencies, Blackish. Oh, it's on 60% by the way.
Okay.
Charge. But it got to a point where Blackish and the Kevin Hart show both sent the whole episode script to our agencies so we could look it over and just pick at this point, we could just pick.
Yeah.
And we didn't understand how big of a deal that was at the time because I
think we did. I don't know if you.
No. We didn't because like I explained.
Right.
Because we read both scripts and at the time this is 2014. So this is this is like prime Kevin Hart right here. This is this is Kevin Hart like going crazy right now, right? Yeah. So I'm guaranteeing you, anyone in their right mind would have just picked the Kevin Hart one off the rip, right?
Well, we knew Anthony's resume.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying anyone like if they didn't have a parent there, you know, and we read both scripts, and the Anthony one was just more of like a heartfelt type thing, and I was included more, and it just felt better, and the Kevin Hart one's more just like. It's Kevin Hart, so the type of comedy is not going to be the same, So they just naturally just wanted to pick the Anthony one. They offered me the job, and then to find out the Kevin Hart one didn't even get picked up. So, So it was like...
And it wasn't going to have him in it either.
Yeah, and we didn't know that Kevin Hart wasn't even going to be in it until after. We thought Kevin Hart was going to be in it the whole time.
Yeah.
And it was crazy because... With this snap of a finger, we could have just picked the Kevin Hart one.
And everything would have been
nothing would have been happening. Yeah. And I would have been watching Blackish go on for 8 seasons.
Good point.
Yeah, so...
Good decision. Yeah, I mean, that's got to be a tough decision because you obviously you don't want to burn bridges with anybody. So that's a tough decision, man. I mean,
sorry,
especially
Kevin.
with two talented people working in two different situations.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kevin.
Yeah. So it was just I don't think anyone could believe a story like that. So it's just
that's wild.
It's the craziest.
In real time, Dan, it was the most exciting and the most stressful because it
was never this stressful ever,
right,
until this one point, and then everything.
I was going to say, like, what led up to that? I know I read that you did music videos and stuff as a dancer, but had you done like
before this? It was just all just commercials, guest appearances.
Oh yeah.
So everything was going just smoothly, and it's kind of like we kind of asked for it. We kind of asked for it because we kept doing these auditions, trying to hope for something like this,
right,
until we got hit with a brick with all the stress that was going on. Right. Out of nowhere, you know.
Like,
but it was all like what you were doing before was like a couple days of work here and there. And
so stuff like that. Yeah.
So how is that? What's it like going from doing stuff like that to being suddenly committed to a full-on sitcom?
It's just I didn't really understand how shows worked like that at the time, so I kind of just went from doing like a commercial, you know how that goes, just filming like a day or two, whatever. Same thing with guest appearances. I'm only there for like 2 scenes, whatever. And then we just keep doing that. And then as soon as we got Blackish, we did a whole week, right? So that was kind of unusual for me as, 8 years old, because I'm like, whoa, we're kind of working longer than how we used to. Why are we not working only 2 days? Yeah. And then I loved it so much that I didn't know that you had to get picked up to continue. So I thought as soon as we were done with the week that we did, it was just, the pilot. Oh, I thought it was just a pilot, and it was a fun experience. And we just moved on. But then we got picked up. And then once they told me we're doing a whole season, I was like, whoa, so I'm actually going to be doing this for a whole year, pretty much straight. And then, and then once we did seasons, I watched a lot of shows growing up that only went for 2-3 seasons, because that's just how Nickelodeon and stuff worked. So I didn't know that it was possible for shows to go on for almost 10 years. Right. Yeah. And after the first season, I thought it was done. After the second season, I thought it was done. And after the third season, I just started building more confidence. I don't think it's done. I think we're going to keep going for a while. And then,
it's probably a good, mechanism to kick in. Just, never take it for granted and just keep going for it, doing your best at it.
Yeah. Right. I just didn't, I think what it was is I didn't think I never realized how relatable the show was. Cause I think we're the longest running show out of all the years that are 2014 ABC shows.
Recent wise, I know Modern Family.
No, I'm saying shows that piloted in the same year as us.
Oh, yes. That's right. Okay. Yeah.
I don't even think it was close. Right. So you could just tell, the
Goldbergs, I think, was a year.
Yeah, Goldbergs was in our year.
But not your year. You're right.
So it was just crazy just knowing, because it's our show spoke out to a certain audience that not one show on ABC was really kind of reaching out to the audience. And I think that's why our show stuck for that much amount of time,
Well, you're talking about that connection, and when a show goes on for that many seasons, it's obvious it has a connection with people out there. Right. And I wanted to ask you just about, when you have a show like that where you're clearly connecting with people, and the States especially, just have this wild fascination with celebrity. And I just wonder what has the experience been like for you in terms of people recognizing you when you're out? What has that been like, man? It's a unique experience.
Yeah, I think the first time. I've never honestly thought about do I remember the first time I ever got? I don't think I do, but I don't know. As growing up, it was wait, that dude knows who I am for doing something, and then it kind of was the second, third time, fourth time. It was okay, this is cool, because it's I'm realizing how much people watch our show and how many people can recognize me based off of something that I'm a part of. And throughout the years, it kind of just became a normal thing, knowing how many people kind of reach out. Yeah. And then I think it got weird to a point where I don't know if this is me, but even recently, now with the masks, people recognize me with the mask.
Doesn't make any sense.
But he never thought that would happen, because it would be even with, it started off with the hat.
Yeah, right.
It started off with me wearing a hat. Oh, we didn't think people would recognize me.
Right.
And then we were dumb, because obviously you could recognize me with a hat, but with a mask, that was crazy. I was literally out with my sister, and 8 people came up to me, and all you could see was this.
Right.
I don't know how, but you know what, Dan? The only thing that's blessing is before the show, I think once Miles was around people like yourself and the artists that you played with, and as well as the dance community, because a lot of these dancers, who would be on these TV shows like America's Dance Crew or the John Chu Step Up series, movie series. Once he started really being around that, and then welcoming him in, I think the vibe of the celebrity was just taken out the picture. So he never really thought about it like that. He felt like he's part of family and friends. So he never really looked at it like that. So when we would be out in public, when the show was on, me and Cindy would notice people may recognize him, but he kind of cared less. To be honest, there was times where he would, this is the funny part. There's a lot of times that people would say, or come up to us, or we would hear them in passing, he looks like the kid that's on.
Yeah.
And this guy would act like, oh yeah, I do kind of look like that guy.
Smart.
Yeah.
Because therefore it avoided more confrontation. If people recognize, he would go with the flow, but most parts he would do it and, but he never really got sucked into the celebrity kind of conversation. And that's the one thing that has always been. I still to this day don't understand how people recognize him. I don't know, because he has his mom's eyes, but maybe it's the eyes or something. I have no idea.
Well, they say eyes are the connection, so it's people recognize the eyes, I guess. But I mean it's a blessing of all the people that you've brought him up around, just people that are celebrities that are whatever people recognize, but they're also down to earth, cool people. It's not like you've been bringing around. Whatever. Most of the people you've come across, people we all know, are also just good people who want to just do cool artistic stuff.
Right. That's what encouraged me even more to bring him around. Like, I mean, to a degree, I always see like athletes, basketball players, their families always in the crowd or in the back.
Right.
Then through the most recent years, I'm sure you remember, you started press conferences. You would see the players hurrying with their kid, with them. I never used to see that, and that's why I felt comfortable doing that myself, bringing them on stage or with us versus being in the back, or I'll meet you there, or not even being there at all. And I think that's because I felt like, why not? Why not? And that's, man.
Well, it also just pushes out the message that like, this is someone you recognize from a TV show, but it's also a person.
Yeah.
And, you don't just walk up to some stranger you don't know and just start getting a little too invasive,
Right.
Yeah.
It's a person out with their family,
Right.
And a nice thanks, I love what you do on the show is beautiful, but, you don't want to take it too far. It just infringes upon family time. Yeah. So that's a good thing to show people for sure.
It's also been a real dope thing seeing the feedback from the families.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it sounds odd, but you think you see a black family on a show. When I used to watch the Cosbys and all these other shows, Amen 227, Before Your Time.
227.
I would say to these actors when I've met them, like, you guys were part of my childhood.
Yeah.
I could see myself, I relate so much to Theo on Cosby and blah, blah, blah. But
he went to my junior high, Malcolm.
Oh, wow. Malcolm Jamal Warner?
Yeah.
But the crazy thing is, when these families would come up to him or us and say their feedback of the show, the vibe is different because they'll say, regardless that you guys are a black family, we see us going through exactly what you're going through. And I think that's the thing that was it. It could have been, I think the writers were phenomenal at just doing the show universally versus just what only the black culture might go through. Storylines that they do that, but their perspectives relate so much to these families. So they would come up, right? And we're talking from here to overseas. Yeah. I'm still in awe how people say they react to that, man.
That's beautiful. Well, that's that connection that you want. And that's that's the beauty of that show, is it connected with so many people on some deep levels, people could really relate to it. That's beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, what was my next question going to be? Look at my list here. I'll edit this together. Let's see here. What do I want to talk to you guys about next? Yeah. I guess I'd like to talk to you guys just about the technical business of having someone on a hit TV show and being in business. Like, how did you guys go about finding an attorney? How did you go about, what does management look like? What's all that? How did that transpire?
I think the timing was really good for Miles on that one. You know how it is when you're in need of a chiropractor or a doctor.
Yeah.
You always get a good recommendation. You get mad recommendations, right? But the one time you take it serious is when someone that you trust or you work with is the one who recommends that person.
Right.
When he was going through dancing, a friend of ours from Oxnard, who was one of the first dancers out of Oxnard to start being in mad videos. I can run down so many songs that from Jay-Z to Method Man. She was being casted in these videos.
Yeah.
She used to date our friend Afion Crockett. And she's the one who started with an dance agency. So she said, I think Miles is the type that can elevate if you have this dance agency around. So that's how we got him with the dance agency.
Gotcha.
I don't think you ever joined an acting agency. We did get him a manager through another mutual friend.
Yeah.
But with the lawyer, with ABC, this is at the beginning, first season, I say, when ABC was involved in doing a lot of promos behind the scenes and things that the studio would do for the cast.
Yeah.
Someone there had recommended a lawyer, and we didn't know. We just said, we'll meet. And when we met with her, we hit it off really, really well. And she's really from an old school essence, but she's still really respected in the line of work that she does.
Gotcha.
They hit it off because she's also into sports, and
nice.
But she's really cutthroat. And we didn't want somebody that was going to look over the things he's doing and be nice. Mm-hmm. And we find out the hard way, and things like that. A lot of people have managers and they switch managers, agents, we just wanted someone that we know needs to do what we need to do. Now, we didn't say it like that, but we realized that's where she's coming from. Mm-hmm. And to this day, she's definitely the one that holds it down for Miles. And, we could be happy. But it was a recommendation from someone from ABC. It was that's how that happened.
Yeah, that's an important thing for so many people to, get their heads around, is having the right team around you that actually cares about you is important. Right. Getting recommendations from friends for the people you use is like tantamount. I mean, you got to have people you trust around you. Right.
He still has the same manager since he first started. Yeah. And this manager represents a lot of dancers like Twitch, most people know from the Ellen DeGeneres show, who he's a friend and friend of. But I think that connection with understanding what dancers go through. Yeah. And just like Twitch, he was a dancer like you, ventured off into doing what he's doing now. So I think seeing that progress of all that, it helped. Yeah. Because you're working with a manager who's seeing things with his other clients in the same way he's seeing with Miles. And so it made sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah. Talk to me about preparation for not only dancing and but acting as well. When you started getting dancing gigs, were you taking? I know you were watching people and all that, and watching actors you love. But did you end up taking dance classes of any kind or acting classes of any kind, Miles?
Yeah, for dance classes, I would definitely take dance classes. I was in a dance team, so so that whole process of dance, I think you can't really be I feel like dancing is slightly different in acting where it comes to classes and stuff, because with dance, it's like you only can do a certain style of dance and not take a class. Like,
right.
With like choreography, anything that's not strictly breakdancing, and even breakdance, a lot of b-boys take classes, you know? So it's like, for acting, I've never taken an acting class. I've taken an improv class once, but that was, you know, even after Blackish, and just, you know, that was just something I wanted to just, you know, have fun with. But never for like preparation or getting, you know, better at anything. I just did it naturally. And I think that's, I wouldn't say that's the best way of acting, because, you know, acting classes will always help when it comes to drama or certain stuff. But I think when it comes to just kind of filling your own role naturally and just, I guess, kind of doing the role the way you feel like it's naturally best, I don't think you really need a class for that. That's just my opinion with it, you know?
No,
I mean, think it also depends on,
I've heard lots of actors talk about that. Like, classes are great to help you kind of prepare and think about how you're going to prepare to act natural, but you know, finding your character's natural habits and reactions that's the most important thing. So I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're actually going out for. You know?
Yeah. Like, if I'm going to go for a role like that's like crying all day, and like, you know, like doing all these serious roles and stuff, like, it wouldn't hurt to get acting class, you know, just to see how deeply you could fit the role.
To get that Denzel, Viola Davis.
Yeah. But anything that's like more on the fun side, or just anything that's not like that, I mean, it just depends on how you see it, you know, so.
Sure. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so, your character on Blackish, Jack Johnson, there's obviously, that name has a lot of weight and history. The boxer, and then Miles Davis did a record based on Jack Johnson, and I just wonder what your thoughts are.
It's funny because I don't think we realized this until like like a season or something after.
Did.
Okay, so Jack Johnson, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, my dad's name is Jack, right?
Right.
And I don't know why, but it's just weird, like, you know. But the even crazier part is that my grandma, with his mom, her last name is Johnson. So technically, if I wanted to, or if he wanted to, he could really name me Jack Johnson. So I don't know why. I just always thought of it as a weird coincidence.
So crazy, man, when we found that out. I mean, we knew about it, but didn't think about it.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I don't know.
That's wild.
But it took me a while. It took me a while to realize the Jack and Diane, because, you know, my twin sister Diane. Because I didn't know at first what the Jack and Diane was, an actual reference to, you know, the song. And we had to actually do a scene where they were playing, you know, the song, and then I was like, oh, so this is how, you know, we got our name stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I wanted to talk about the film you did, Boy Genius, with Rita Wilson, and what that was like, going from, for both of you, making the leap from television to film, and how that's different for an actor, how that's different for you know, the business side of things, how that leading up to that is different. Are auditions different? I just want to give people kind of a glimpse of how that's different.
Yeah, well, I mean, okay, so for me, it was slightly, I guess, different than a normal or ordinary way of doing like a movie. Shout out to our director Bridget. She's awesome.
And Vicky.
Vicky, yes, the producer. I'll say that it was a little different because the director Bridget directly came to me because she kind of envisioned me for this role.
Oh yeah.
So she kind of brought the idea to me. And was Rita already on board when that happened?
I think Rita was on board.
Okay. But yeah, so it was kind of different because I didn't really need to do like an audition process to kind of get the role, because the director already kind of seen fit for me for this role. But that's not always normal, because that's not always going to happen, because I'll say 80% of the time you're going to have to audition. You're going to have to find a work your way through and convince people that you're right for the role. But just, I guess that process was, I could say it was a little different filming wise. But like getting ready and the preparation and just kind of just how you work with the other castmates is really just like TV. It's just being on set. I mean, that's the way I see it, because I take everything with a grain of salt and I just, you know, have fun with everything. So if I took it so seriously, then I could probably see how it's different. Because, you know, I'm focused on strictly acting instead of having fun and, you know, enjoying myself on set. But I could say it was kind of the same, just how we did it. But We only filmed for like 4 weeks to a month almost on for the movie, so it wasn't as long as a process for Rather Than Blackish, but I was a main role, so it kind of did take a little heavier toll, kind of memorizing lines and stuff. Right. Because Jack Johnson, he's like the sixth main character on the show, so it's kind of a little easier. But I was prepared for it.
Yeah, you focused on your lines. I remember.
Yeah. I could say when I was on there, it definitely, I was surprised how much I was able to kind of memorize all in like one little time span. So
that's amazing. Yeah. And that wasn't a challenge. Was that a big challenge for you, having so much more to memorize?
I think when you have fun with anything, nothing is really a challenge like that, to be honest. Like
when you love what you do, work is not work.
Yeah. It was fun. I could say it was challenging, but like in a like, ooh, I want to see if I could do this type thing, not like actually challenging. But I could say it was definitely a difference between how much the load was, and I could notice that a little bit because I had to stay up a little later trying to work things out and trying to memorize the stuff.
Yeah, you asked a lot of questions. I do remember.
Yeah, you kind of had to be a little more detailed with it, but it was fun either way. Right. Yeah, for sure.
Oh man. Well, there's so much to talk about. You guys have both done such amazing things, but I wanted to get into music a little bit and talk about the record you did. And I want to talk about just your influence with what inspired you to make this record. And you got some amazing people like Slick Rick on it and Dame Dalla and Saida Garrett. And it's just, I've been listening to it and it's just a great record, great messages. And I just want to know what inspired you to do this all of a sudden.
Yeah. Well, I think music has always been like a part of me, if that makes sense. Obviously, from him.
Sure.
And I think he kind of inspired me to start wanting to. It was two things. It was him, watching him making music. I think that kind of going to be like, hey, let me record something. Right. And I think what I wanted to talk about kind of came from Blackish because we're obviously known for kind of speaking up on certain topics that we want to talk about that not a lot of other people do. And I seen that and I kind of wanted to do music and I wasn't sure what I should talk about and how I should approach the way I make music. And then I seen that and I was like, why don't I kind of take that approach and talk about certain topics that not the other, a lot of artists are bringing up in their music. And I think that a lot of people need to hear in music. Yeah. And I just think that was a super interesting way. And I think me bringing up the We the Future, I guess futuristic, idea to it kind of gave it a little twist because I'm young. So for me to, be younger, speaking to a different audience, I think is super impactful. And I just, I guess the way the idea came up of We the Future, especially the cover, shout out to my sister, Kiana. She was the creative director of the actual cover that we shot because,
I didn't know that.
I don't know if you noticed, but the signing, it was kind of like a remake of the signing of the Constitution. I don't know if you know the side by side. Yeah. And in that statement, it says We the People. And that's kind of how I came up with the thing of the future. And it was just kind of a direct tie in. So I could say that's definitely how it inspired me to start making this project for sure.
Man, well, that's a beautiful inspiration. And how did you go about building the songs? Talk to me about that.
Yeah.
How did you go about getting Slick Rick and all these great guests? And how did you create the songs? I know Otis was involved, Madlib was involved.
Mm-hmm. It was just a crazy thing because it's like, me being a fan of all these people kind of, I guess, a mind-blowing thing that they even recognize me and know who I am, not even from music, but from something else. And I think it started with Damien because, he was the lead single. He was on my lead single, We the Future, before the album even came out. And I think people seeing how that came out and people seeing me do that, I guess it just, other people that I've looked up to and I've wanted to work with, seeing that, like Slick Rick, Jadena, just other people that were on there. And I just think it was just super awesome, like how they understood and how they seen my view and my passion for wanting to make music and what I wanted to talk about. Yeah. And they were like, this kid is, doing things that other people aren't. So it kind of just inspired them to want to hop on,
I love what you just said, Miles, about how you did the first single and it kind of gave people confidence to come on board. And I think that's an important thing to get out there because undertaking an entire LP is a lot of work,
Yeah.
But if you're jumping into something and you haven't, necessarily released stuff before, doing a single and kind of proving that you can do something, it's a smart way to go because then other people are like, oh, he did that one. He's good. The next thing he does is going to be great too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are you saying?
No, I was saying it was cool that to tie in the personal stories when you were connecting like Slick Rick. because what most people don't know, I can't remember the timing, but around the time before you appeared on Ellen, Miles opened for Slick Rick.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think we even videotaped it. If someone did, but we did it.
Okay.
And Slick Rick remembered doing that show out in, I think it was Ventura, Oxnard. And that was like the story behind the scenes of collaborating with him.
Right.
Because I think that led to you being on his work first, right? That was first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I had to rewatch that because that's...
Yeah, he appeared in Slick Rick's video.
Oh, I didn't know that. Which video is it?
It was like a I don't remember how...
Rapper, I think it's Got No Soul. It's like a double song. He sampled the Knee Deep.
Let me, I want to find that.
Yeah. And so he asked him to be in the video with MC Light and Dana Dane, who he met for the first time.
Yeah.
And then, coincidentally, Slick Rick hired a dancer who's also one of his close friends, and he didn't know that.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then that video shoot was when Miles told him he was working on an album. And it went from there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So, I think it's this one.
You got to send it to me, you guys. I want to see.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. To be honest, man, it's weird to be excited and jealous at the same time. I was like, yo, this is dope. Man, I can't believe.
Oh, that is, yeah.
Years ago, right? Yeah, that's it. Yep.
Well, I mean, When I'm on the Mic is probably one of my favorite hip hop songs of all time.
Oh, word up, man.
It's going to be hard for the youngsters to top that. Man.
Right. But even with Big Daddy Kane, man, I was like, I don't think that would have even happened had it not been for, the connection that you made with Kane. Like literally,
that was such a fun day. That first time when you came up on stage with us at Sunset Junction and got on the mic, he remembered that. He was super excited about that. I remember that was a great.
I get hit up about that all the time, man. Like, does Miles even know what because I don't really tell him all the feedback I get, but people will be like, do you realize that moment you had with Kane is the question that I get all the time. And like I said, I think he was just in the moment. It could have been, unless it was Michael Jackson or something, he could have just been up there with any, but I know he appreciated it and was caught off guard and he still did it. But that was
blessing,
cool.
Man.
Did that. Yeah, man.
Yeah. Well, it's just a blessing to be up there and just kind of in the moment, man. We all can learn from that.
Right.
Right.
The moment is what it's all about.
Yeah.
Right.
Man. Well, what did you learn on the set of what have you learned on these TV sets? What do you want to do next, Miles? What are you excited about these days?
Still we're still doing Blackish, so that's one thing I can say that I'm so excited about. Season 8, finale season
8,
Yes.
Talk to me about that. Talk to me about how you're feeling about season 8 and the show wrapping up and all that.
It's crazy because it's like I couldn't ask for a better way to kind of do it because it's like we haven't started filming yet, so I don't even know how we're gonna do anything. So I'm excited to see how it's gonna come out, and I don't know. It's like I'm glad it didn't go out to be like, oh, it got canceled, just stop.
Right.
And we're kind of getting our own formal way of saying goodbye. And I was hoping, I guess once we got to the 5th season mark, it was like we're too short of a show to kind of have a finale season, but we're too long of a show to kind of just cancel, So I just was, I just was excited to kind of find a way that's how we're going to end it. So that was exciting. But I could say for future things, there's other things I'm loving, obviously, when it comes to music. And I do want to start getting into, having my own production company and not too much I can say on that, but just doing my own films. And I kind of find a passion for kind of when I talk about music, like I was just saying, bringing up my own subjects, my own topics, but putting that into film perspective. And I think that's going to be super dope for me and people who I guess want to see kind of from a young perspective. And I think it'll be super fun if I have my own production company when it comes. I don't want to say too much on that though, because nothing's confirmed. So yeah.
But I will say, I was lucky to appear on his album, so I had to send the request for him to appear on mine as well. So he's going to be also on upcoming stuff coming out soon.
You've got your managers are talking. Hopefully you can work it out.
Yeah, our schedules are getting lifted and stuff. Yeah, so
that's great. And then you have new music coming out as well, right? You're working on a new project as well.
Yeah, the album Omoale is dropping on my birthday, November 2nd.
Let me see that shirt.
Oh yes.
It is?
Yes, I got it scheduled to come out on my birthday. Shout out to all the Scorpios beautiful. In the building. Right. But
I want to see the
this last year, 2020, just took a lot of people in a different zone. And it did as me. It's hard not to therapeutically work on something that we've been obviously doing for a long time. So for me, I would, let me just start playing music. I will DJ. So I'll DJ every week. Yeah. And I felt like, okay, that's just to get the vibe. I wasn't trying to take the vibe away from official DJs. A lot of people are like, are you a DJ? I'm like, no, I just like to play records, and then it wasn't enough. I'd be up at night, 2 a.m, 3 a.m. I can't get the neighbors mad playing music. So that's why I was like, all right, I think it's time to get back in the lab and construct something to get this essence of what I want to say out. So, November 2nd, Omoale. Got Mr. Miles on there, and blessed to work with a lot of cats, man. To be honest, it's crazy. The connection came full circle with you helping Miles up with rocking with Kane. Big Daddy Kane blessed me.
Oh, great, man!
So he's on there with me, and Pasta News from Daylight, and man. Of course, I had to connect with the crew, Madlib and Georgia Ann, and some other surprises on there, man. But this is going to be a good one with this guy right here. Since we're here, I had to share something that most fathers probably have with their sons, and that's that argument about who's the GOAT, LeBron, or Jordan.
Okay.
So that's get ready. He came with it. He came with it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah,
man. Well, I'm excited to hear that. I can't wait to hear the new record. This is all. Madlib did all the beats on the record, or it's different people?
No, actually, different producers. Madlib, I think he did one of the singles, Manifesting. I got a joint from Knots. Okay. Knots blessed me. Georgia and Modro. Mr. Brady, got a joint from Mr. Brady, and Mike Checkmate, who did most of the production for Miles on his album. And who else I got on there? Theory Has It, and Karl Marx.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, Karl Marx also blessed me as well. So, full round.
The family came together.
For sure, man.
That's beautiful.
I'm excited for this one, man.
So, who are the top 5, what are your top 5 hip-hop tracks, each of you?
Ooh, Miles, I'll let you go.
I thought you were going to say rappers for a second. Okay.
We can do that, too.
Tracks.
Who are your...
Because I can't pick songs, because songs is always going to change, because I love music.
That's, you know what? Okay. He's always been like that, because 1 minute is, because you go, I think you're a mood, you're a music mood.
Yeah, I'm
a
mood for it.
Yeah, 1 minute is like this, and then next, I get that.
It's too hard to pick songs. Okay, well, who are your top 5 MCs then, Miles? And then we'll do your dad secondly.
Ooh, I love
you
top
go
5
first.
MCs?
Yeah, you go first.
All right, top 5 MCs.
Wait, in order or no order?
Doesn't matter.
No order. But it's funny because before I answer it, I'll peek in to tell Miles, okay, Miles, dinner's ready. But sometimes before I peek in, because I would respectfully knock, I hear him arguing with his friends who the rappers are that, you probably don't know I hear you, but you're so loud and the whole house hears you. But,
all right.
Okay, top 5 MCs, let's see. So I'm going to say...
It's probably going to look so different, so...
That's good.
I'm going to say, well, I have reasons. They don't have to be your reasons. Your reasons are who you think. It's all good. Cool G Rap, Rakim, Black Dot, Pharoah Monch.
That's 4.
Who was the first one I said?
I said Cool G Rap.
Okay, KRS-One.
Okay.
If you put all 5 of those, to me, that's the dream team. But my dream team is different.
You always say Rakim every time I ask.
Yeah, Rakim. Yeah,
Rakim's the god.
I mean, it's every other rapper below that is influenced by those 5 people.
Oh boy.
From concepts to, and an honorable mention will be Chuck D.
Yeah.
That's the, Pharoah Monch, Cool G. Come on, man.
I ran into KRS-One in the most like I wouldn't have expected it. I was walking just like because it was out of nowhere and it was in Woodland Hills, but I was just going down to grab something from the market. And as I'm walking in, KRS is walking out with his girl, and I just took me off guard. And I was like, KRS-One, and he goes, all day, all night, baby.
Yeah,
and that was it. And then he walked off.
That's cool, man. Wow. He got to perform. We got to perform with KRS.
That's great. Miles, what you got?
For me,
he has a big wide.
I'm surprised he never, because I'm putting Kanye in top 5.
Okay, sure. Okay.
Yeah. Kendrick.
Okay.
You forgetting Kendrick? I don't know why you didn't.
No, I don't forget Kendrick, but I just know. Go ahead, I'll tell you after.
Okay.
What about
Kanye,
J. Cole?
Kendrick. J. Cole's crazy too.
Go ahead, Kendrick.
Okay, Kendrick, Kanye, Drake. See, from there, I don't even know. Like, who? Like, what rap? Like, I don't even know. Like,
just who's your favorites?
I mean, because my favorites go by like certain songs. So if I like a song,
sure.
Another way to answer Dan's
J.
question.
Cole, you were just saying J. Cole.
Who would you tell the DJ to play right now?
Okay, that doesn't make no sense because I could just play from the most random artists, and I'm not going to put them in the top 5 of all time.
So you got J. Cole, Kendrick, Kanye.
Who else do I talk about a lot? Like, who else do I like?
You talk about Travis Scott and also
Travis Scott. Okay. I mean, I don't know. With me, I feel like I have 2 different lists. I'll have like a list of all time lists, and then I'll have like a this era list. Because then if I had a this era list, I could just go on all day. Right. Talk about Travis Scott.
That's hard.
It doesn't discount anyone else.
Yeah,
exactly. Because I just feel weird putting like newer artists and stuff like in an all time thing.
Yeah,
you know, man. It's art.
So
you pick whoever you want to, man. They're all beautiful.
Yeah. So
what about this? You know, you guys are kind of known for emceeing and hip hop music, but what's kind of like, what are your top 5 songs like in other genres that no one would expect you love?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like, you be listening to the song. What's that one song that you be playing all the time?
He makes fun of me because
you know what song I'm talking about, right?
Africa, the Toto.
Oh. Yeah, you
that song is just a mood. It's a vibe. It just gives me a different vibe. Of course, I could easily play any hip hop song and make me want to b-boy.
He'd be liking Coldplay too. Like he'd be putting Coldplay on his slideshows. He'd be making slideshows and he'll just put Coldplay in the background of his slideshows.
Shout out to Coldplay.
Of his family slideshows.
They wrote some catchy songs. That Chris Martin, man.
You know what was always growing up? So those would be 2. Okay, any song from Coldplay. So
was it what was it? What was the group name?
Nights Over Egypt.
No.
Nights Over Egypt.
Love that song.
What was
that?
The,
I don't know
group?
that one.
Nights Over Egypt. Boom, 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 boom. Nights Over Egypt.
That's one I don't know.
What was the group that we was like Alabama?
The Jones Girls.
What was it? Alabama something? Alabama
Shakes.
Alabama Shakes.
Oh man, right?
Yeah.
Ooh,
Alabama Shakes.
Brittany Howard, the singer. We went and saw her down like a year ago. My wife and I. She is incredible.
Yeah,
incredible.
It's just a different vibe, and those are more current, right? Right.
Yeah.
But there was a song that hit me like that when I grew up. Always. Simply Red, holding back.
Yeah, Simply Red. He could sing too. What a great voice.
And then Patti LaBelle. I'll leave it with Patti LaBelle. If Only You Knew. Those songs, when I play those songs, if I play it myself, they make me feel the same way I feel if Black Thought just dropped a new song right now or something.
I'm trying to find
it's just deep. It used to be Cameo, but those songs were deep. It's too much to name. Go ahead, Miles.
I just entered my last interview was this singer Cy Smith. Do you know Cy?
Yes.
No,
she's a great singer, and she one of her first memories was her mom took her to go see Patti LaBelle, and Patti pulled her up from the crowd and brought her up on stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met Patty and I just lost it. Like, you know, you would think like if you meet like Halle Berry or if you meet, you know, when I met Patty, I was just like, her voice, I don't think she knows, put it this way, I don't think Patty knows how dope her voice is.
Right. Well,
I'm pretty sure
her voice, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm pretty
like
sure.
Aretha Franklin knows she's dope, right?
Yeah.
Michael Jackson knew he was dope.
Yeah.
Prince knew he was dope.
Yeah.
Patti LaBelle, I don't think she realizes, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping, but yeah. Who you got?
I'm trying. I still can't. I mean, I don't know. I can't. It's because it's like it's just weird because it's like with me, like with him and the difference between him and me, like with I'll listen to stuff he listens to, and then I'll listen to the stuff that like I listen to because he doesn't be listening to stuff I listen to a lot.
Sometimes,
like he'll only listen to stuff that I played for him.
You got me into J. Cole.
Yeah, but J. Cole is like a mix in between our eras.
You got me into Corday. You got me into Corday.
Yeah, but you don't like you only listen to certain songs I play you like.
Yeah,
because
you got me into X.
Yeah, but same thing. Like,
okay.
You listen to like Drake and stuff, but like it doesn't, you know.
You got me into Drake. See, he knows like when it comes to Drake, because Drake's so versatile. You know, he sings a lot. He'll be like, he'll do one of those like, check this out, but I'm only going to play you this song by Drake.
Yeah.
Because I know you like the MC aspect of.
Oh, you know, yeah. Oh, Jay-Z. I forgot Jay-Z.
Jay-Z, right.
Jay-Z, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the topic with a lot of guys. Your dad's, I think you're a little younger than me, Jack. No, are we the same? I'm 71.
48 this year.
Okay, yes, I'll be 50 this year. But
a
lot of guys around our age, it's like the dividing factor is the music production with a lot of hip hop these days. You know, like I just can't do the trap beats. Like it drives me nuts. I can't do it. Like I have to have some funky sample drums. I can't have. I can't. It just drives like something it does with my heart palpitates differently.
You know what, me when I listen to it, I think the vibe of the songs. If you're just listening, it hits you one way. But if you want to dance to it, I feel like that with like 50 Cent. I never really liked to listen to 50 Cent, but if I was enjoying myself dancing, getting into it, like, he would be the one that I
nowadays is like I don't think music is really like lyric influence as much nowadays as it used to be.
True.
Like nowadays it's more energy, like the energy that is in the like if it's like a sad song, like it's just a sad song. If it like it doesn't matter, like you can be saying the most wild lyrics, but it's a sad song.
Yeah.
You know?
True.
So it's different because so many different artists can do that in either way, and so that's why like I could go to a club and hear Drake and dance to it, but I might not be playing that as my first song if I was DJing.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I'm listening to it, you know. But at the same time, if I was DJing for a crowd, I probably wouldn't be playing all straight boom bap style. I'd probably be playing more songs that get you feeling. Your body feeling a different way than just what your ear is hearing.
Yeah. I agree.
What else you got? You said
I gave 5.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, Kendrick.
Okay.
Kendrick.
You brought
Drake.
in Jay-Z.
Oh, Jay-Z. Got you.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people, so it's hard to say because
there's. I mean, you can see behind me. I got thousands of records like you guys do.
Oh,
I'm sure. So it's just,
but you know what? You know what he loved growing up. You probably remember. You probably do. You might not. Cameo, Shake, Shake, Shake.
Oh,
yeah.
What was that one? It was another song, Cameo, man. I used to love. I mean, Isn't Candy a Cameo song?
Candy is. Oh yeah, you did used to like that. But you would.
But there was another one that. Oh no! You just said what was that song called again?
Shake, Shake, Shake.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like literally, he would lose it. When that song came out,
that song was crazy.
He would lose it listening, or if we went to a jam and he's not battling. I mean, if you battled, it was on, and we have videos of that. But when the DJ would drop that song, you reacted the same way now. Like if a Travis Scott Drake song came on, you would be the first one in the cipher. Crazy
molecular reaction.
Yeah,
that's great. Man.
Yeah. Oh, and Barcades too.
Oh, Barcades. Yeah, I got some Barcades records too. They're great.
Yeah.
Well, lastly, I'm going to leave you guys with this. We've talked about MCs. We've talked about different kind of music. But as far as entrepreneurs in acting and music, who do you both look up to and why?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
Go first, right? Entrepreneurs and who'd you say?
Just entrepreneurs in acting and or music that are doing things or have done stuff that's inspiring to you that you kind of...
Probably like Will Smith, because it's like when it comes to Will Smith, like I can't see him as an actor or like, because obviously, he's made music. And his album has like, it's one of the biggest, like it's crazy. Yeah. And then, going to acting, to all the other stuff he does, it's like, I don't know, probably him, LeBron. I look up to LeBron, a lot. I don't know. It's just a lot of like, so what would you say?
He's answered this question to me and Mom, to me and Cindy, I mean. So you're leaving out a lot of people. I don't know if you remember, but you told me Robert Downey.
Oh yeah, I mean, but like he's asking like entrepreneur-wise, like multiple things. Like,
okay. All
he's
right.
got his hands in lots of stuff though, Robert Downey, doesn't he? He's
not just
acting. He's
now Robert Downey is my favorite actor of all time.
He's amazing.
I could see LeBron. I really respect him a lot for what he does on the court and off the court. I'm talking from his body conditioning, how he handles himself on the court, what he's done off the court. I wouldn't have seen that had it not been for him being such a fan. Because I would be the old school guy, like, well, he's still not Jordan. Well, he's still no Jordan. I would have been that. It took him to open my eyes up more. So I agree with him on that. I even agree with him on Will Smith, because not to re-say, but everything he said, the way Will Smith now just seems to be just enjoying everything.
Yeah, because like Will Smith, like I feel like he's not like, I don't think like, because I want to be like the type of like, well, I'm not on the schedule or anything, or like I'm not attached to a certain like thing I want to do. Like if Will Smith gets like he can get 2 offers from completely 2 different jobs, a music thing, an acting thing, something else, and then just it's like whatever he wants. So.
Without being in a box.
Exactly.
Yeah. I agree.
There's only so many people who can do that, who are just not boxed in by anything. Opportunities from everywhere.
I would say Stevie Wonder.
I mean, Michael Jackson. Am I dumb? Am I forgetting?
Yeah, Michael's right.
Michael Jackson.
I would say Stevie, because no matter how dope he is, when I keep seeing clips of him younger, it just seemed like he's a sponge still soaking up everything. Yeah. The stories I hear about how he would learn and be in the back for, and then come to, and now my best memory is him doing a concert, charity. Everyone's there to see him. Yeah. But he's on the mic going, all right, now let's bring out Houdini. Let's freestyle right now. Yeah. Like, I want to be like that when I'm like 80 years old. Like, all right, that I don't see a lot of guys do that, like that. I do also like his sister on Blackish, Marseille. Yeah. Showing how possible it is for young kids to step into the world of production the way she is. And I know they're like really close friends, but it's dope to witness it close up than just from a distance if I didn't know her. Yeah. I mean, that's like me wanting to do music and my guy right here does it. And it kind of makes me, I'm seeing it through his eyes, so it makes me more confident I can do it. So that to me is dope. I mean, there's so many, but those are the, besides Denzel,
well, that's, crazy. I mean, I've talked with, a bunch of people about this, and I think relationships are the most important thing in this business. And you saying, having that person right next to you who's doing what you want to be doing and then being willing to kind of lead you through it, the steps to take to make it happen. Right. That's what this whole podcast, I'm hoping, becomes, is here's people who've done it, learn from this, Here's kind of the step by step, as much as we can remember, to help people make their dreams come true.
For sure.
So Miles and Jack Brown, thanks so much for being on. You guys,
thank you, man. Salute to everything you do, man. Salute to everything you do, man. Keeping it funky all the time, too, man.
Much appreciated. So much gratitude for you guys taking your time out today. Thank you.
Word up.
Perfect. Thank you.
All right, man. Salute.
See you soon. All right. Hope you enjoyed this episode of The Conduit. The Conduit is brought to you by Crewest Studio and DanUbeProductions.com. I'd like to dedicate this episode to the memories of Jack's Uncle Tony and Mr. Animation. Many thanks to the folks at Squadcast, Polymash, Captivate, We Edit Podcasts, Universal Audio, Audio Technica, Shure, and Avid. Extra special thanks to my brothers from Other Mothers, Scott Power, Bill Coulter, and Alex Desert. And last but not least, go check out Soul Picnic, my hand-picked music playlists on notrealart.com. Until next time, this is Dan Ubik, signing off.